One of my favorite types of videos to watch here on YouTube when it comes to The Sims is tier lists. I love to see other people's thoughts and opinions when it comes to packs in The Sims 4, worlds, deaths, woohoo spots, townies. And one of the things that I really enjoy is being able to learn new things that the packs come with, or things that I've never heard of before or that I forgot about. The first time I ever did a tier list was when I ranked every base game townie from Willow Creek and Oasis Springs here on YouTube. And I've done a few other tier lists on stream before, but now that it's 2025 and we've got, I think, 17 expansion packs now, I would love to sit down and rank every single one of them and give you guys my thoughts and opinions of the expansion packs. So let's get right into it. So here's the tier list. I've got all of the expansion packs down below and I am ready to rank them and tell you my thoughts and opinions. Before we get started, I do want to say that I actually don't hate any of these packs. I actually really enjoy all of the expansion packs that we have. I don't think I could ever say I hate an expansion. I probably have ones that I don't play with as constantly, but I still like aspects of that pack. So I will say that is why all of my categories have very different names from what you are probably used to. So we've got Obsessed. So these are the packs that I'm constantly playing with. I'm always going to recommend to people who need an expansion pack idea or what should be their first expansion pack. I will always say that these are my favorites and my go-to. I really like this pack. So these are the packs that, I also really enjoy, but are probably not my top favorite, but ones that I will still recommend, that I use constantly, and that I really love. Then we've got Love-Hate Relationship. So these are the packs that I can love constantly for a really long time. And then there are things about them that I just don't use and I kind of just put it on the shelf for a little bit. So it's like a love-hate relationship. So sometimes I love it, sometimes I really don't like it. It just kind of depends on how I feel. Then we've got I use it sometimes. So these are the packs that I sometimes use and I come back to every so often, but I also only use them for certain things. Like maybe I only use them for a certain cast item, or maybe I only use them for their build buy items. And then I just don't do anything else with that pack and I kind of just forget that it's there. Then we've got not my fave, but I still use it, which seems similar to the category before, but this is the one where it's like, this is probably my least favorite kind of pack, but I still use it occasionally. And I think you'll understand it more when I start putting the packs in the categories, but it sounds better than saying I hate it or I could do without it, which honestly, there's something that I get out of every single expansion pack, so that's why I said I could never hate anything. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? So the very first expansion pack that we ever got for The Sims 4 was Get to Work. Now, when Get to Work came out, I really enjoyed the pack. I thought it was really fun that you could go to work with your Sims, you could own a retail lot. I really enjoyed that. Now, I have played with all of the careers in the past year, so I have a different perspective from when I first started playing the pack to now, that I really don't actually enjoy the pack as much as I used to. But there are still things that I enjoy about the pack. So for instance, I have played with all of the careers. I did this over on my Twitch channel and I revisited the pack and all of the different careers it offered. I really like the detective career. That is probably my favorite career that you can go and do with your Sims. I've always been a big fan of action films and spy movies and detective shows. Like, I've always been really into that aspect. Being able to play as a detective in The Sims is really, really fun. And the reason why I think this is my favorite career, not only because I really enjoy it, is because it doesn't feel as repetitive. It's really fun to solve different crimes and it feels new every time you go to a different location. I love being able to book people in and interrogate them and take their fingerprints and search them and put all the clues together to find out who it is. I just think it's kind of fun and it doesn't feel as repetitive to me as some of the other jobs. Whereas with the doctor career is something that I also used to really like. But with the doctor career lately, I've noticed that with the last time that I played is that when you're first starting off, the first couple of career levels, you're doing the same thing every time that you come in. When I leveled up from 1 to 2 and then from 2 to 3, I was still doing the same thing with my sim over and over. So it really did not feel fun until you got to like level 5 and 6, where you started to be able to, self-diagnose the patients. And then the further you go, you could start, delivering kids. And I really like that, but it takes a while to get there. So that one felt more repetitive to me. And I played the scientist career for the very first time last year. And I actually really did enjoy it, but I don't think it's one that I would go to for me personally, like all the time, but I would definitely want to do it again. I did have fun with it, but it's probably not my favorite out of all of them. And then you've got the retail aspect where your sim can own a lot, where they can own a retail lot, like a bakery or a clothing store. And I think that's really cool. It reminds me a lot of Open to Business with Sims 2, which I really loved. I thought that was such a fun thing that they did. Now, I don't use it all the time. I loved owning a bakery bakery with Gen 8 of my Shrek Legacy. I loved being able to own retail lot spaces. I just thought it was really fun and something that I kind of go back to every so often. And if we're thinking about it from a world perspective, cast and build by, honestly, it's not my favorite. The world you have to travel with your Sims to be able to even access that part of the world. It also came with Magnolia Promenade, which is honestly not that fun. I did rebuild it for my save file that I just released a couple weeks ago, and I like what I did with the world. I made it something where it felt like my Sims could actually go to and have fun. So if you make it your own, it can kind of be more fun than what it really is. But if you're thinking about it with just the pack itself, honestly, the world's not that fun. I don't use the cast items at all, and I think build and buy, I only use a plant from that pack. So honestly, Get to Work is not my favorite, but I still use it. I don't ever use it really unless like I'm doing a challenge or something. So the next pack that we got with Sims 4 is Get Together. Now, I really love this pack. I think it has a lot to do with the world itself because it's the biggest world that we have in the Sims 4. There are 27 lots. I think the townies that come with this world are really fun. I'm constantly having them be friends with my Sims. I love the lots that got introduced. We've got a pool lot, there's a nightclub, we've got cafes, and the build buy items of Get Together are so amazing. And I'm rebuilding the Windenburg world right now, and I forgot about how amazing the build items are for Get Together. The world is amazing. I constantly am having my Sims live there for all of my challenges. I try to switch it up so my Sims aren't living there all the time, but I'm always going back to Windenburg. When it comes to the gameplay though, I have to say it's not the biggest aspect of this pack. So I'm not really using Get Together for the gameplay. I'm kind of using it for everything else. Now with the gameplay, they did introduce the club system, which I kind of used when it first came out, and then I stopped cold turkey and did not use it for the longest time. However, when I started streaming and I started doing the 100 baby challenge and the A to Z baby challenge, I found myself using the club system like crazy. I honestly forgot how good the club system is. Being able to put Sims in there that were potential Sims that my Sim could use to have a kid with for the challenge, and then hearing about how my community used it as saying you could have one for your kids that could be homework buddies, or you could have a club that could be like those are your best friends, or you could use a club to put your family together so your family would always do stuff together. I thought that was such a genius way to look at it, and it makes me want to use the club system even more now that I've played with it a little bit more and I understand it a little bit more. It kind of makes me want to use that club system a little bit more. But that is kind of like the main aspect of Get Together is the club system. There really is no big gameplay aspect other than that, but I really do enjoy this pack a lot. So I feel like I want to rank it really high because the world is amazing. But if you're thinking about it from every other perspective, I don't really use it as much as the world itself. I feel like I might put Get Together in either I really like this pack or it's a love-hate relationship. I'm leaning towards I really like this pack because it's honestly a really, really good pack. All right, so now we've got City Living. This is probably my first pack that I will immediately put in Obsessed. I don't even have to talk about it before I put it there because this pack is absolutely one of my favorite packs in The Sims 4. City Living introduced apartments. Now I know the apartments are kind of a little buggy sometimes, but being able to have my Sim live in an apartment and I can make that storyline work if they got out of university and they bought an apartment and they're living in the city that they've always wanted to do. And not only did it add apartments, you've also added in festivals that they introduced. So we've got a ton of really fun festivals like the Spice Festival, there's Flea Market, the Romance Festival, we've got GeekCon, we've got the Humor and Hijinks Festival. I think that is so fun. We've also got food booths that got introduced. The world is actually very beautiful. I love the different neighborhoods that they have. I also love that they added the karaoke bar. I think that is the coolest thing. Now, coming in and thinking about all the different things that I've listed before. So the world, I really like the world. I think it's really fun. I love living in apartments. When it comes to the cast items, I think I use the cast items sometimes. There's some cast items that I really enjoy, and then there are some of them that I can never make my Sim look good in, but I don't really like some of the cast items as much. And the build and buy is just kind of weird because sometimes I want to use the build and buy, and then there's some things that come with a pack where it's like I don't think I could ever use the build and buy items. They're also like a very distinct taste, and I think I've maybe used the chair and the couch maybe once or twice. I think I use the chair more often. I do use the wardrobe that came with it quite often, but other than that, I don't think the build and buy is my favorite out of all of the expansions. But the only reason why City Living I put in Obsessed is because those apartments are my favorite thing. The festivals, the karaoke bar, I love, love, love everything about this. So other than like the limited build buy, I feel like it kind of has, because it's a very distinct taste. Everything else about this pack, I like adore. I am constantly raving about it. I'm always using it. So that's why I would put it in obsessed. I could also say I really like this pack because the build and buy is usually a really big aspect, but because I think there's a lot more gameplay that got added, I feel like city living adds so much more that the build and buy really doesn't matter when it comes to this pack. So the next pack we have is cats and dogs. This is an immediate, like city living, this is an immediate, I'm obsessed with this pack. And it has everything to do with having a cat or a dog as your pet in The Sims. That is basically my main reason for why I'm obsessed with it. But let's break it down. The world that comes with cats and dogs is Brindleton Bay, and I really do love this world. It's a world that I'm constantly having my Sims live in. I love that there's different aspects of this world where you can live down by the water, you can live on the beach, you can live away from it all, kind of like on a more countryside, live in the city a little bit. If you have seasons, it does rain there a little bit more often than some of the other worlds, but I love that aspect of the game. When it comes to the cast items, I sometimes go back and forth between really liking the cast items or really not using them that much, but the cast items aren't that bad. The build buy items aren't that bad. They're very distinct tastes, but I love using their items. I kind of have started to use the couch and the chair from cats and dogs a lot. And then when it comes to the gameplay aspect, like I said, you can own a furry little friend, which is something that I really love to do. I don't think I have a Sim family through any legacy that I've played where they're not owning some type of pet in The Sims. I love that you can customize the pet that way you want to. You can mix the breeds. You can add outfits to them. I think that's really fun. And another really big gameplay aspect of cats and dogs is that you can own a vet clinic, or you can just send your pets there if they're sick or need any type of treatment. But I think it's really fun. I love building with this pack. I love living in the world. I love the townies that come with this world. Brit and Brant hacking, I think, are the ones that everyone knows the most, and I am constantly having my Sims be friends with them. But overall, this pack is definitely a top tier item for me because I'm a family gameplay person, and being a family gameplay person, I always have to have a cat or a dog in my Sim family, and I think it adds so much more gameplay and storytelling, which I really, really enjoy. The next pack that we have is Seasons, and again, like the other two, I have got to put Seasons in Obsessed. Seasons may be the only expansion pack that doesn't come with a world, but my goodness, does Seasons add so much stuff to your game. Starting off with cast, I have to say I sometimes go back to the cast items every so often. This is where they introduce Seasons, so you get more swimsuit, you're getting your hot and cold weather wear, which did get added to base game. And the cast items are probably not my favorite cast items out of everything that's come out in The Sims 4, but I do really enjoy them. I'm constantly using the swimsuits from Seasons. I'm constantly using, when it comes to build buy, it's kind of craftsman style, and it comes with a lot of holiday items because with Seasons you can now have holidays. This is what introduced the calendar system and add holidays, and I love adding holidays to The Sims because as a gameplay person, this is definitely something I use when it comes to family gameplay, and every season has something fun to introduce. So with spring, it starts raining a little bit more. This is when your gardening starts to bloom, the plants come back. In summer, you can have heat waves. Love that your Sims can go to different booths to get fun snacks and treats during every season. Summer, when it gets really hot, you've got a kiddie pool for your toddlers, you've got a sprinkler they can run through, you can throw water balloons. Fall is my absolute favorite season, so I'm always obsessed with fall in The Sims. But you can rake leaves as the leaves fall down from the trees. You also have Harvest Fest, which is really fun, and I also create my own version of Halloween for fall. And then with winter, you get the ice skating rings that pop up. You can have snow where your Sims can, make snowmen and throw snowballs and go ice skating and have hot drinks that pop up from the booths, and your Sims can celebrate Christmas and the New Year. And the New Year celebration is really fun because your Sims can make resolutions that they then can either stick to or not stick to. And I think that's a really fun aspect that they added. Overall, Seasons is probably hands down one of my most favorite packs in The Sims 4. So the next expansion pack that we have is Get Famous. If I'm being honest, I used to love Get Famous when it first came out because I loved the aspect of being able to have your Sim become famous and be in movies. I thought that was so fun. However, I don't use this pack as much as I used to. I really don't. And the world is kind of questionable. It's a smaller world, but it's based off of LA, which I really, really love. I've started to have my Sims live there a little bit more in my offline gameplay. I really do feel like if you made over the world and made the builds just a little bit better, it would be more fun to be there. However, if I'm thinking about Get Famous as a whole, let's start with the world. Like I said, the world doesn't have a lot of lots, and they're not the best lots. There really aren't any smaller like 30 by 20 lots. I think the smallest they have is like 20 by 15, and then it starts at like 40 by 30. It just kind of gets bigger and bigger from there, which I understand because if your Sim owns a mansion, they're probably going to want to live on that 64 lot. However, I would have liked to see maybe a couple more lots of 30 by 20, maybe even smaller, because I feel like when your Sims are first starting starting out and they're moving to a world that's very big with celebrities, you would think that you would have some smaller lots to start off on, because the smallest one that they have there is literally for the park. And I don't think that my Sims would be living smack dab in the city like that. So I would have liked to see a few more lots, but I do like the world. Like, if you actually take a second to like look at the world and look around, it is a very beautiful world. When it comes to the build and buy items, I really actually like the build buy items, I have to say, because it adds a lot of mid-century items, which is my favorite type of architecture, my favorite type of build style to do in The Sims. So I'm really obsessed with the build buy items. There are the more like gaudy kind of build buy items that I don't ever touch, I don't ever use, but now that I think about it, I kind of like want to force myself to use them in some way. When it comes to the cast items, I don't really use the cast items that much. I think there might be a few that I pick and choose to use on my Sims and use every so often, but I don't ever really use the cast items. And the gameplay aspect of this world is becoming an actor and becoming famous. But I also like that get famous does help you get famous in other ways. You can get famous now from writing, you can get famous from doing art, which I think is really, really fun, that certain hobbies that you do, you can become famous from. So you don't just have to become famous just from acting, just from the main aspect of what it is. However, I still don't really use it that much because a lot of the time I really don't want my Sims to become famous. I will say though, the most fun I had with this pack was Gen 2 of my Shrek Legacy, where my Sim Farkle was in the comedy career and there was a random pop-up. I think he still had his comedy job. He was like a top tier celebrity. I had the absolute most fun with that. He skyrocketed to like level 10 of his career. So I didn't even have to like worry about doing that for my gameplay. And the townies that come in this world, I actually really do love. They're very iconic. I mean, Judith Ward, probably one of the most iconic Sims that we have in the game. But if I'm thinking about it as a whole from all of the earlier things that I mentioned, I don't really use this pack. I really, really don't. I use this pack heavily for build buy alone and really nothing else. So I could literally put it in a lot of different of these categories, but I think I have to say it's not my fave, but I still use it. So next up is Island Living, and I really still love this pack. I know it's not what everyone was thinking, because when mermaids got introduced, we thought it was going to be really fun, but there's no occult tier system for mermaids, which I understand occult is really big for a lot of people in the Sims community. I personally do not like occults. I don't ever use them. I really, really don't. I do have to say, when Life and Death got introduced, I did start liking the ghost occult a little bit more, especially now that it has a tier system. I definitely started using. I do have to say though, I am the person, and I had a friend call me out for this, I am the person that would like the mermaid occult the most, because I do. And I think that has heavily to do that when I was a kid, I always thought it'd be so much fun to be a mermaid. I watched H2O, Aquamarine. I was obsessed with mermaids, and I still kind of am. So Sulani is a beautiful world that comes with this pack. It is breathtakingly beautiful. I always have my Sims go on dates here, take vacations here. I always have my Sims have their honeymoons here if they get married. I really, really do like this. I also love the culture that it introduces. I really like the careers and like the part-time jobs that come with this pack. I think those are honestly really fun. The main gameplay aspect I feel like is kind of mermaids and like the careers that it has and all the stuff that your Sims get to do. I have to say, gameplay wise, I probably don't use this as much. I really do feel like Sulani is more of a vacation world than like a gameplay world, so I'm not really playing with Sulani that much. I do really like to build in this world, and I love when it comes to cast items. I don't really use the cast items that much. I think I use them like every so often. I use them a lot for my hot weather wear than anything else, maybe sometimes my swimwear. I feel like it's a love-hate relationship. That's where I think I'm going to put it, because a lot of the times I really do love it, and then sometimes I kind of just forget that it's there. And I haven't really played with the mermaid occult in a really long time. The world alone makes this pack amazing, and the build and buy items are really fun. I also think that they're a very distinct type of build buy that I only use when I'm building in Sulani. I really do like Island Living. I think it's really fun. I think I might put it in a love-hate relationship. I sometimes use it, I sometimes don't. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling that day. So up next, we've got Discover University. I absolutely love Discover University. I was in college myself when this got released, and I had so much fun playing Discover University the minute it came out. I am constantly still praising this pack. I still use the build items, the cast items, the world. I still use the gameplay aspect. I love Discover University so much. So let's break this down. Discover University comes with the world of Brightchester. There are two different universities you can send your Sim to. You've got Foxbury and you've got Brightchester. The world is very much a university world. It's not really a world where you could have Sims really live. Technically, there are a few places where your Sims can kind of live off campus, which is really fun. So if you wanted your Sims to live there and grow a family there, you could, but it's very much like a university world. So you're mostly sending your Sims there to go to college, to get a degree. I really do like the world though. I think it's really fun. I love that there's more modernized version of the world, then there's a more like old kind of classic side of the world, which I really, really enjoy. The main part of the pack is definitely going to be the gameplay. The gameplay of being able to, when your Sims are teens, they can start applying for scholarships, they can start applying to universities. You can also talk to a scholarship like counselor to kind of get a feel of what scholarships your Sims get. One of the things that it introduces is distinguished degrees. So if your Sim applies for university and gets in and has opportunities for a distinguished degree, I definitely say take it. It's really, really cool. Basically what happens is that if your Sim decides to go get a degree in history or literature and it's distinguished, if they graduate with that degree and then get a career will be highlighted if it applied to one of the degrees that you got. And with the distinguished one, you start off higher in the career, so you could start at like your Sim is starting to make more money. I think that's a really fun thing that they added. Your Sims could live off the lot in student housing, which is also really fun. So instead of living in a dorm, you can live in housing. When it comes to the build buy, it's very much for a dorm. It's not really something that I feel like you could use everywhere in your game. I feel like the beds you can kind of get away with using in a ton of different types of build styles, but it's very heavily influenced for a university. And the cast items, I actually love the cast items. I think the cast items for Discovery University is by far one of the best ones that they've ever created. I feel like Discovery University I am obsessed with this pack. I do love using it, but I also don't like to send my Sims all the time because it can be kind of tiring because they have to do homework for all those classes. Sometimes they have a paper, sometimes they have to take a final, sometimes there's a presentation, and it's just a lot of work for your Sim to do. And then when they're doing all this work, it's like they have no social life. So sometimes I really love this pack and sometimes I hate it, but I feel like I really like this pack. So next up we have is Eco Lifestyle. Now I really like Eco Lifestyle, and I know I've said that about so many of these packs, but Eco Lifestyle introduced a whole different type of gameplay, a whole different type of idea, which is something that a lot of us, I don't think any of us like ask for, but something that we really actually love. And I don't mean to be mean when I say that no one asked for. Generally, I think that no one really thought of this idea, but Eco Lifestyle is such a cool concept to add to The Sims. I love the idea where your Sim has to work to rebuild the quality, like the air quality, and take care of their neighborhood and the world. I think that's really, really cool. I love this pack for that idea. I think that is so cool. So the gameplay aspect is phenomenal. You have solar panels and the wind turbines, and it introduces all this really cool stuff for your Sim to do, which I think is really, really fun. And they also help affect the bills as well. The cast items are very different. I don't really use them that much. And the townies are really fun. I enjoy the townies that come with this world. The worlds are really cool. I love the different aspects of it. I love the different neighborhoods. And I love that every time that you get that neighborhood green, I love the way that the different neighborhoods look. I think they're so, so fun. When it comes to build and buy, I'm obsessed with the build and buy that comes with this pack. It is phenomenal. It is so fun. I'm constantly using it. This world also comes with apartments, which is really fun. I don't have my Sims live there all the time, but I really do like the apartments, and I think they're almost just as fun as city living. I will say the one downside with Eco Lifestyle is that with the apartments, your Sims can't use the balcony, which a lot of people still talk about. So that's something that I don't like. I love that they changed it where you can move the windows around, but I really wish that we could use the balcony that came with Eco Lifestyle. I kind of feel like maybe it's a love-hate relationship because sometimes I like to use it and then sometimes I forget that it exists and I don't really use anything from it. I think the solar panels are what I use it for most. So I feel like I'd probably put Eco in the love-hate relationship, but I feel like I'd put it above Island Living. Next up, we have a Snowscape. So Snowscape is a really fun pack. If we're thinking about everything that it offers, it introduces another culture. It introduces a whole new type of world. Mount Komorebi is really fun. I have had my Sims live here quite frequently, and I really love this world. I love that there's a mountain that's always snowy. I love that you can go sledding, you can go skiing, you can go snowboarding, all these fun, beautiful build items. The world is absolutely breathtaking, but I love the townies. I love the builds in this world. I love the world itself. The cast items are really fun. I use the cast items constantly. Now, gameplay wise, I don't really use everything that comes gameplay wise. I'm not always sending my Sims to the festivals, and I'm not always having my Sims go hiking or mountain climbing, but I do like that gameplay aspect when I do play with the pack. It's really, really fun. I think I use the pack heavily for the cast items, some of the build items, and for the townies. I sometimes will have my Sims live there. It's a very beautiful world. I do like the world itself, but I feel like if I'm looking at it as a whole, I think I really only use it for like a few things. I feel like Snowscape, I think, is going to be in a love-hate relationship because, again, it's something that I love using, and then sometimes I don't use stuff from it for a very, very long time. So the next one that we have is Cottage Living. Cottage Living is by far one of the best packs that The Sims has introduced. It's so fun. I love that you can own a family-owned farm. So you've got like a cow or a llama. You can have up to 8 chickens. The cast cast items, the build items, the world, the townies, everything that comes with cottage living is like chef's kiss. It is by far one of the best packs and I'm obsessed with using it. I constantly love building little country homes and little farms. I love the cast items. I'm always using them on my Sims. The build items are really, really nice. And everything about this pack, like I said, is phenomenal. Agnes Crumplebottom comes back. And I just think overall, it's a really cool concept. And I'm glad that it's more of a family type of farm. I also love all the builds in the world itself, because you've got like the city aspect and then like a farm area to Hinford. And I think that's really cool. I also love that it introduces a few festivals as well. Next up, we have high school years. Now, again, it's another pack that I really, really like. I feel like I could say that I'm obsessed with it, but I think I'm going to put it in I really like this pack. This pack introduces Copperdale. You get a ton of townies, you get a new world, you get some really cool cast items and some amazing build buy items. And the gameplay is really cool. You can really customize your teen's bedroom. You can have your teen sneak out through a window. It also introduces high school, where you can go to high school with your Sims, which I think is really cool. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but it's so repetitive. My argument for that is school is repetitive. Like that, it's the most realistic aspect to what school is. It's very much you go to class with your Sims, they take a final, you can go to prom. So you can ask Sims to go to prom as friends. You can ask to go as a date, do like the T-pose. You can own a locker. You can prank the whiteboard and get detention. There's after school activities you can join. It adds so much really fun stuff. I really do like this pack, and I actually love sending my Sims to high school, and I love to go with them because I can help control if they make friends or not. I can create fun storylines, and I really like high school years. I think high school years adds a lot of fun aspect to the game. All right, we are nearing down to the end of the expansion packs. There have been so many, so thank you for sticking with me. We got a few left, so let's talk about them. The first one that we have is Growing Together. Growing Together, again, hands down, one of the best packs. I am obsessed with this expansion so much. I feel like I would probably have to put Growing Together at like the very beginning. Growing Together is hands down the pack that you talk about when it comes to family gameplay. It introduces so much amazing gameplay. We got infants and a base game update, so it has a ton of stuff for infants. There's tree houses, there's bike riding, your kids can lose a tooth and the tooth fairy can come and give them money. You can have stayovers now, phenomenal cast items, amazing build buy items, and the world is so amazing. San Sequoia is amazing. It's such a beautiful world. I love the idea that it takes after like San Francisco, I believe, and it's so fun. I always have my Sims live here. This has been probably the pack that I have always wanted in The Sims, and overall this pack is just really cool and I love the idea of it. It also added rec centers, by the way, so it's really cool for your Sims to be able to, you know, really focus on a lot of their skills. Your Sims can go to the gym, they can work on art and music. It also introduces puzzles and other games for your Sims to play, which is really cool. So you could add the library there. You could add literally anything you wanted to the rec center so that it covered all the basics and you'd have everything. The next pack that we have is Horse Ranch. Now listen, I know what some of you are thinking. Horse Ranch, when it first came out, I loved the idea that it added horses and that it added more of like a country kind of lifestyle. I thought that was really cool, and I still like the idea of Horse Ranch. The build buy items, the cast items, the townies, the world, everything that comes with this pack is amazing. However, I have realized I don't really use horses that much. I don't really have my Sims own a horse. I don't really play with, you know, the equestrian skill. I don't really do that. I've kind of had my Sims live here off and on. I've created a short LP for this world, which turned out to be really chaotic, but that was really fun. I will say though, the cast items and the build buy items are probably what I use the most out of this. I don't use the gameplay. I don't find it that fun as much as I used to. I've tried to play with the gameplay, and I think it's just because I've realized the pack is not geared towards every pack that comes out for The Sims fits a certain kind of style, a certain type of niche for people, and I'm just not that person. I am not the audience for this pack, but it is really fun, and I love the stuff that they added. I think it's really cool to have. I love that you can have like mini goats and sheep now as well. I think that's really fun. For me though, it's not my fave, but I still use it. So the next one that we have is For Rent. Now I have to say, this is going to be hard to rank for me because I hold a special place for For Rent in my heart, because For Rent was one of the first packs that I got gifted when I got into the EA Creator Network. This was the very first pack that I ever got. So I want to say that I really like this pack, and I do. I like the aspects that come with this pack. I think that's really fun. However, I think I'm gonna have to put it in I use it sometimes. The only reason that it's in this one is because I don't really own a residential rental that much anymore. There's still like a few little glitches here and there. I noticed like the building of residential rental is still a little bit bit slow and laggy at certain points, so I don't use it all the time, but I really do like the world. The world of Tomering that comes with this pack is absolutely incredible. The cast items are really, really nice. The build items are really good. I like the culture that it adds in. I just think that I don't really use the main gameplay aspect of it as much. I do like having my Sims live in a residential rental because sometimes it can be cheaper than an apartment, and sometimes it's cheaper than living in a house. So I love it for that. I love being able to own one. I think that's really fun. I love being able to have tenants and have to deal with issues. I think that's really fun. It adds a lot to storylines. I love living in this world, but I still have to say I use it sometimes. I don't live in the world all the time. I'm not constantly using the build buy items. I'm not constantly using the gameplay aspect. And I think it's just because when other stuff comes out, I get more obsessed with those packs, and then I have to come back and revisit some of the older ones. So I would love to revisit this again. I think that would be really fun to create like a short little LP over on Twitch and kind of play with it and, you know, get back into For Rent. But I do have to say I use it sometimes. I still feel like there's a love-hate relationship. I still honestly feel like I could delete this row and add just 4 different categories and put this in love-hate. But I think I'm going to say I use it sometimes because I think I use these 3 packs more than I do For Rent. And I use For Rent more than I use these. So I feel like that is like a safe place to put it. So we are down to the last 2 packs, and I've got some things to say about the next one. Lovestruck, I'm just going to say this here so more people can be aware of this. I manifested this pack and I was correct. Now, there were so many leaks when it came to these last 2 packs, which honestly, I hated. I hated that these packs got ruined. I feel like Lovestruck is probably my favorite expansion pack. I said it. The reason why is because, again, listen, I love growing together, but Lovestruck adds more romance into the game, and that's something that I've been wanting for a really long time. And it's so fun. The world that comes with this pack is beautiful. Ciudad and Morada is a beautiful world. It introduces more penthouse slots, which is really, really cool. They're a little bit smaller than the ones that we got with City Living. I love the townies. Okay, can we talk about the cast items? It introduced some really interesting things. This is a very interesting pack, but I love it. I love it so much. I'm going to leave my trailer reaction to Lovestruck down below. You have to go see it. It is so funny. My reaction to the costumes, oh my goodness. Reintroduces though the heart-shaped bed. You get, like I said, penthouse slots. You get a whole new dating system, which is amazing. I love that you can create a date and you can choose if it's like a get to know date, if it's a romantic date, if it's a repair date. You can invite other Sims on your date, so you could have a double date if you wanted to. It adds a romance skill, and as you get further in the romance skill, it adds more interactions. I also love like the lore that is created with Lovestruck, like the little scavenger hunt that your Sims can go on when it comes to the ring and the bear, and you can be put on like a love dating show. Honestly, Lovestruck is so fun. I really love it. Everything about this pack is amazing. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but my friends, this pack is my favorite for me. I know not a lot of people agree, but listen, this pack does something for me. Okay, so the last pack that we have is Life and Death, which is the newest expansion pack that got introduced to The Sims 4. I love the world. I think it's really cool. I love the tier system it adds for ghosts. I remember playing this on stream. I was obsessed with, you know, planning funerals. I loved playing with ghosts. It adds a bucket list for your Sims to complete so they can go through and make their bucket list. And if they complete it when they're a ghost, you can choose to continue playing with them as a ghost. If they complete all of that, there's a whole rebirth process for your Sims. So rebirth, I had a Sim get rebirth into their daughter's child, which was really, really weird, but I was just curious what it would do. And that's really fun. There's a whole storyline with a ghost where you have to go on a quest to discover stuff about her kids. I love the festivals that it added. I just think everything that they added with Life and Death is really cool. Now, when I'm thinking about it as a whole and where I would rank it on my tier list, I don't think I would put it in obsessed, even though I really enjoyed the pack when it came out. I don't send my Sims to the festivals that much. The build buy items and the cast items are really, really good. I do like everything that's come with Life and Death. I think that's really fun. They also reintroduce iconic Sims that we used to have in like Sims 2. The festivals I don't really send my Sims to. I love the bucket list. I love the ghost tier system. It makes me actually like enjoy playing as a ghost more. I also think it's kind of funny that they added a like ghost can basically woohoo anywhere. I think that's absolutely hilarious. It also adds in 2 new careers, and one of them you get to go to work and you get to work with Grimm. So at the end of the day, if I think about everything Life and Death has to offer, I kind of feel like I use it sometimes. I know it's low ranking, but listen, I do use it sometimes. I don't use it as much as I use the others, because these other packs I use constantly. I'm always using it. I do really like Life and Death. I think I would put Life and Death above For Rent. And it could also be like a love-hate relationship, but I don't really use use Life and Death as much as I did when it first came out. Still really like this pack. Again, I hope you guys all know I don't hate any of these packs and I don't wish any of them away because I still get my use out of all of them. I still use them, but this is just how I would rank it as how much do I play with it? How much do I really use the build by the cast? How much do I interact with the townies, live in the world, all that kind of stuff. This is my final ranking. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. So that is it for my video for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed the tier list. I had a lot of fun being able to rank packs, and it was kind of fun to revisit and talk about different aspects of the packs that I really enjoyed. And I liked breaking it down to every category that I gave because I feel like the townies are important to talk about. I feel like the world, the cast items, build by the gameplay, like that's all important to talk about. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I would love to do more tier lists in the future. I definitely am gonna rank our game packs, expansion, game kits. That's probably gonna take a while because those have a lot. There's a lot of DLC there. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you have any ideas for future videos or other tier lists that you would like to see, please leave the comments down below. Let me know what you thought. And if you want to follow me anywhere else, I will have all my links down below. I stream Monday through Friday over on Twitch at 3 p.m. Central. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I had so much fun ranking the packs, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye, everyone.